Hey, this is indeed Walt from the Comic Book Men, and you're listening to the iWalter Show.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
All right, everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. I actually didn't expect to do a show tonight. I was going to give myself a break because I do listen, for the most part, I listen to a lot of the programs I actually put up or broadcasts. I try to listen to them on my Spreaker account, and I did so today, and was really disappointed on how many mistakes I made. So here I fell back into that situation, which I tried to avoid, and that is to not read articles directly because I always mess up too much. So anyway, it is 9 o'clock on Friday night. It is February 26th, 2016, and to start things off, I guess, because I'm going to make this a little bit short, there's personal things I wanted to talk about that I usually don't mess up on. My shows seem a little bit more entertaining that way. Not to say extremely entertaining, but at least they're a lot better. And I am upgrading my computer right now for my only PC laptop, my Windows laptop. I actually am now in the process. There were some hardware updates. It looked like a firmware update, too. So I'm doing that. Hopefully it won't shut down in the middle of me doing this. So I'm going to keep it short and simple, stay away from a lot of the stories. There is one I actually just noticed, a friend's brother put it up, and this is kind of interesting. You know, I talk about this all the time, but when you see it around here, people kind of just deny the fact that it's happening. It was on Fox 43. He had posted tonight from Fox 43, illegal alien charge with 9th DUI in Lancaster County. Like I said, I'm not going to read these because I end up screwing it up. So 9 times this guy from Mexico, he's illegally in this country. This is the 9th time he's got pulled over with no registration, not a legal license. He's illegally here. Is not up to par because he's not supposed to be here in the first place. And this guy has gotten charged for speeding, too, it looks like. He said he was going 45 in a 15-mile speed zone, and it's not the first time he has gotten pulled over and caught, and now they're going to lock him up for now, but he'll probably get out again. I'm sure there'll be a 10th time. So I just had to get that out. Like I said, I'm going to stay away and try not to ruin any of these stories like I did yesterday. It was horrible. I actually got in the mail today. I bought this last of the 3 dolls you can get from, I post them up on my Facebook page, from the new movie coming out, Batman versus Superman. And I put it up. Unfortunately, the pictures, I got the Wonder Woman, the Batman of Ben Affleck, and the guy who plays Superman in that movie, the new one coming out. I got all 3 of them now. I actually had taken them out of the boxes, actually, now. I wasn't going to do that. I was going to keep everything in the box. Just the boxes take up too much fucking room, so I basically tossed them in a recycle bin, and I'll get those recycled. You know, they come with actually certificates of authenticity. I would recommend buying directly from Mattel. They're Barbie dolls, technically, but they're called Barbie dolls. But these are collector's items because they come with certificates of authenticity. I didn't know that before because I never had taken them out of the box. And that's really all you kind of need. As long as you don't destroy the action figures, they're good with those certificates. That's all you really do need. So I collected all 3 of them now. If you buy them online, they're charging you, I think, about $100, $200 a pop for these action figures. If you buy them directly from Mattel, you're paying no more than $39 plus shipping. So, and you probably can find some coupons if you look around. So, it's much better. You can buy all three for the price you're going to pay for one on eBay. So, don't get scammed. So, there was that. There was a couple other things I actually figured out on my own about my PlayStation 4 I wanted to mention. I did watch, by the way, the last movie in the trilogy, or the 4 movies of the Blind Dead collection. Now, I haven't watched the extras yet, and there is quite a bit of extras on there, but I have not watched it, and I will. But that last movie actually wasn't bad, but it didn't go the direction I wanted to. It was called Night of the Seagulls, which it appeared like they set it up. Let me move my mic down. It appeared like they set it up that, hey, listen, there's this movie beforehand I mentioned just yesterday called The Ghost of Gallion. It did not, I know. It did not pick up from that movie, which it looked like it would have. So there are 4 movies, and the whole premise is completely almost different, even though the main characters, these priests that were satanic, that gotten into Satanism, their premise was their outlook was the same, but they came from different areas. In all 4 movies, they were kind of related. 3 of the movies were kind of related somehow, but then the one on the boat was not. That one called The Ghost Gallion was not from the same situation of the other 3 movies, but it was kind of led you to believe, because the last 2 movies, The Ghost of the Galleon and the one called Night of the Seagulls, they both had taken place around the water. So it kind of would made sense the way they left it off of the last movie, but they did not. They weren't. They did not. Basically, they weren't the same movie, I guess. Just realized I put my bookshelf together wrong. Probably did do it right. Anyway, that's a different story. So that was it was kind of cool watching The Ghost of Gallion. I actually did like the movie. It just, now that one, I read some reviews. They said that was the worst of all 4 of them. It actually was not bad at all. Didn't have any, I mentioned before, they at least 2 of the 4 movies, they had incorporated that the women were lesbians. This one actually did not. So that was kind of, I can't say either way. It could be good for some people and bad for others. I just don't know why they even bothered to do that. Now, I did buy a ticket today. It's kind of funny. Speaking about that, because I mentioned that I feel that, I'm trying to remember his name correctly, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill may have been influenced, at least one or both of them must have been influenced from that movie that I mentioned of these Blind Dead movies for The Fog. They made that movie called The Fog because the premise was very, very close. Anyway, that being said, I totally forgot that John Carpenter is not going to be that far from my house. He's going to be coming to outside the Philly area, somewhere I don't mind going to. I have, in the past, I forget what it is, but I bought a ticket to see him, and I wasn't going to do it at first, but he actually had a meet and greet, because I always wait for those. I don't mind doing those, and honestly, at first, I did not want to do it after I saw the price, and I'm going to have to look it up now, make sure I turn my mic off, too. Yep, it is off. So, and then I end up you know what? Screw it. I'll just buy the ticket for the meet and greet. Because when I can do that, maybe I can get him to do a plug for my show. Maybe he can say something, hey, listen to iWalter. I don't know. I did it with those other guys from Comic Book Men. Maybe I can do it again. So here's a real knee slapper, though, and it's at the Keswick Theater. You can buy different level tickets. Now, if you want an up row seat, right off of the stage, you can buy those, but they're the most expensive tickets. Those tickets go for about, I think, $400 and a little bit down from that. So there was one, actually, the one I bought was a meet and greet for John Carpenter, because this is the only way I would be able to do this. And now, I thought I met John Carpenter previously. I can't remember, because I should have done this. I mentioned in a voicemail to a friend, I think I'm going to start doing this, though. I'm going to basically ask these people, can you do plugs for my show? Because she was very nice. Actually, the one person I met from Josh Whedon's shows. I can't remember her name. I love her. This one actress. I really, really love her. And I even told her, I said, listen, I'm really nervous. And she actually did do an interview with someone who requested one. She stepped aside and said, I have no problem. I'll do an interview with you. And not me, but somebody else. And was like, yeah, I really should get into doing that. So, but I should have even thought back then that that's not a bad idea. Doing interviews with people, ask them, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? You can do it right on your phones. And actually, I have an iPhone 6, and it does not sound that bad at all. It really doesn't. So anyway, it's like, yeah, maybe I better start doing that. And I should have did it with that girl. I can't remember her name again. She was on Josh Whedon's Dollhouse, and she was also in Angel. And I never even thought about doing it back even just recently. But now that I made that stretch with the comic book men guys, I'm going to have to do it with these comic book conventions I go to. But, yeah, the thing was, my ticket, I apologize, folks, but I didn't get to the point. The ticket I bought was $250. It's a Saturday in July, and it's actually covered by insurance too. So if John Carpenter decides, hey, I'm going to cancel out, you're not going to be stuck paying the money or get your money back. So it's a will call ticket, and I got one right up front on the stage. Apparently, what a shock. The tickets were on sale. I totally forgot about it, and he did not sell one freaking ticket yet. So I'm looking at it right now. It is, if I mentioned before, I apologize for mentioning again, but it was down at the Keswick Theater, and it is for John Carpenter on July 9th. I'm going to see at 8 o'clock. So I can get in there early with the meet and greet. I've done that before with Rick Springfield at that same place, the Keswick. So it sounds, it seems pretty cool. And again, maybe if he's not too, sometimes they're pretty nice. I wouldn't even have thought about it, but I didn't do shows, I think, when I actually saw Pat Benatar and her husband one time. And they were very nice. They kind of talked to you on a one-on-one basis. You can always ask these people, hey, can I ask you just to do me a favor, do a plug for my show? But again, I've only been doing these shows for a brief period of time. It's almost going on a year. So I'm looking at it right now. If you go for the Keswick, the different levels, the meet and greet package includes one primary reserve ticket located in rows 2 and 3 from the front, VIP early entry into the venue, exclusive meet and greet with John Carpenter, personal photograph of John Carpenter, autograph session limited to 2 items, specially designed tour shirts exclusive to the VIP package only, collectible autograph tour poster, numbered limited print, an exclusive John Carpenter merchandise item. Official meet and greet laminate too, one of those probably tags they give you. That is the one I bought. Now there's one I think that's probably below mine for the meet and greet. Oh, I didn't check it correctly, though. That's the problem. Let me reopen that. Because actually, those were cheaper than just getting a seat all the way up front. The other package basically is one premium reserved ticket located in the first 15 rows, specially designed tour t-shirt, exclusive VIP package only, collectible autograph tour poster, exclusive John Carpenter merchandise paraphernalia, or who knows what it is, and the laminate, whatever you call it. Well, the only thing is, the difference in that one and the one I bought was literally not that much at all. I think it was like $50, so it wasn't even worth it. Now, you can get what's called the front row package, 1 front row ticket, VIP early entry into the venue, exclusive meet and greet with John Carpenter, personal autograph with John Carpenter, autograph session limited to 2 items, specially designed T-shirt, collectible autograph tour poster, exclusive the merchandise, and official meet and greet laminate. Now, that was the one that's above the one I bought. Let me see what that price is. I don't see it yet, but I'm going to find out. I'll just put down for 1 ticket. They don't let you know. Okay, that's $325. So there really is no difference. You just get 1 row up above from what I got, and you pay an extra $100 and some just to do, or about $100 to do so. So there's the front row package, the meet and greet package, and the VIP tour package. And all you can get with the front row package, because it's so limited, even though it's like $325, I don't know how many tickets are going to actually sell. But the only difference is you go 1 more row up from where I'm going. You pay an extra $100 to do so, and you get the exact same thing that I'm paying for. At $100 cheaper. Either way, they're very expensive. If you go for the regular tickets, you are still... I'm looking at them now. Yeah, and there's really the front row package, the meet and greet package, and the tour package. So, rows 2 through 5 for mine is this row. Well, let's see. I could be anywhere from 2 through 5, depending how what time I get there. I really don't care. If I get to talk to the guy, that'd be pretty cool. So, and then there's just general admission, but again, those tickets, believe it or not, are like $80, $90. So, they're all rather expensive. Now, it says ticket prices are $29.50 to $65, but you're talking like $80, $90 after everything's said and done. But I decided to take the plunge, and I'll just do it. Anyway, it was kind of funny. So that is one other thing I added to things I'm going to be doing this, coming up year. I'm going to try to keep away, at least, because I ruined it so badly yesterday on trying to do a show and read these stories and just stumbling over my words so severely, I do not want to go through that nightmare again. So, and I mentioned I was going to talk about my PlayStation as well, and I will. So I'm moving away. I'm step away from your computer, Walter, so I'm stepping away. So I won't make that mistake. I'm taking my glasses on, so I won't be determined or given that thing like, oh, maybe I better read this story. It looks really interesting. So I shut that down. It's going to be a non-official thing. Now, the thing about the PlayStation, between last night and today, what I did was, because I have severe OCD. I'm not going to deny the fact. I really got bad OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. I get obsessed about everything, about my weight, about my hair, about things I do, whatever. So anyway, my obsession with my PlayStation 4 was I put the 5400 RPM hard drive in the computer to replace the 1 terabyte from the 5400 to 500 gig I had in there. Now, one thing I did learn, there is really no difference. It is actually faster than what I had in there, the 1 terabyte, which I was kind of surprised. But yeah, it's faster than what I had, even though the speeds are exactly the same. But the games play just as good, because I was told, oh, you don't want to get the 5400 if you buy a terabyte. You want to buy the 7200 RPM 1 terabyte for your PlayStation 4, because they said by putting in the 5400 1 terabyte as opposed to the 5400 500 gig in your PlayStation 4, they said your performance is going to actually drop. That's why you want the 7200. But then on the other hand, they said, well, though, on the same note, if you get a 2 terabyte hard drive for your PlayStation 4, then you definitely want the 5400, not a 7200, which they do make 2 terabyte 7200s. So it's like, okay, you're saying on one hand, the 1 terabyte at 5400 speed is slower than the 500 gig that I had in there. Then they were saying that if you go for a 2 terabyte, it's going to be faster at 5400 as opposed to 7200. So it made no sense. I read all these different stories, these different links, and I was going to ask, and I let it go. So I actually bought a game too, because I don't know why I bought it. It was a real waste of money. But I bought a 1-year subscription to PlayStation Network, which you really don't need. Now, when I had the Xbox, you had to buy their online service, even just to use Netflix. You do not have to do that with PlayStation. That was the thing people loved about it. And they said many other things. They said the setup on the PlayStation console is much faster than the Xbox, because the Xbox used slower RAM. Their whole performance setup was not that good, and then they have that big freaking brick on their power supply unit that's external to the unit being so bulky on the Xbox. PlayStation doesn't have any of that stuff, and the performance, the RAM they use is much faster than the Xbox. And the thing is, it's cheaper too. So, because they said they cut costs by, which they probably did. You're only cutting off a few bucks per unit. You're cutting off probably maximum about $10 by putting that slower speed drive in there. Not even. You're probably cutting off $5. So it's not like it's going to make a large bulk cost in what it costs Sony to make those units, because that's $5 on our part that they're cheapening it. On their part, when they buy bulk amount of hard drives, that's literally only costing them probably pennies if they would have put a 7200 in. So I think it's also the reason why they put a slower drive in here is also because it's not that much. Some people say the difference isn't that much, but it's probably for heat reasons too. And it doesn't really honestly, now that I downloaded that game, Batman Arkham, which actually has skins now for the Batman suit. You can get ones for Batman versus Superman. And the cost of that game was only like $23. But that's the full game. It was actually like almost 50 gigs. So it had taken a couple hours to download the game. But that was an exclusive, by the way, in case I didn't mention this, for having the PlayStation Plus, they call it, for the network membership for the year. I know I keep on saying and I'm trying to stop from saying that. So in some ways, if you're going to download stuff like purchase games or maybe updates for the games you do own, because you can buy updates online and you own those, or if you just want to purchase like certain films, TV shows, you will get a benefit from your membership from that. And I do that once in a blue moon. I will purchase maybe a game or a movie, which I did last night, because the percentage I saved actually was 50%. And you can save up right now if you have that PlayStation, I'm trying to think of what they call it, PlayStation Plus. You can save up to, literally, you can save up to 70% right now. It's only going to be until the end of the month or the beginning of next month. So that part's, really cool. And I didn't mind for that part. I don't think I'm going to get the full benefits. You really don't need that membership. That's not forced down your throat like Xbox did to me. But I figure, what the heck, because I did upgrade the system. And the reason I did it, too, because it allows you to store on their cloud service, which I think you can do anyhow. But you can store larger amounts of stuff on their cloud service by just buying the PS4 network membership. So I figure, you know what? I'm putting a new hard drive in. I'll put it on a flash drive. But just to be safe, that's why I did it. I'll buy the 1-year subscription so I can upload everything to their cloud account, my cloud account, for the PlayStation Network from anything I had on there, on firmware, game saves, things like that, so I wouldn't have to be stuck buying it again, which it's not a bad idea because I didn't know if the flash drive thing was going to work 100% of backing up stuff, which it really did. But I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to lose this stuff because I don't want to have to pay for everything again on upgrades for games and stuff that I purchased, because that stuff can easily add up to $20, $30 here and there. So for the 50 I got, I figured this way I have a security of backing up, because I know I use cloud services for my PC and definitely for my Mac, because I think that at this point I use a 20 gig a month or 23 gig a month service. It's like something like that for Apple. And they charge you, I think, like $10 a month. And it's well worth it, because anytime I've had a problem, which I have, where for a while there on the Mac I have now, I actually killed 3 hard drives in a row. Like, they just died. And it was just really frustrating. Now, I haven't had that problem anymore, but I did have that problem. I literally lost like 3 hard drives in a row. I had like 4 in there. And it was a pain, and everything was stored, backed up, pictures and all, on the Apple Cloud account. So that's why, you know what, it's worth paying for that service, because it does really come in handy when you have to. Now, I know people that have even used that thing called, I think, Carbonite and stuff, where they back up your complete hard drive, a mirror image, on their network. So if your computer goes down, you just take out the hard drive, and if it's fried, you can take it out, replace it, and download your entire mirror image of your hard drive from this network. And that's pretty costly. So this is not as expensive, these services. That's not that bad, because it's for a year. The Apple one's not that bad. They don't charge you that much, and it's over a period of, $10 a month or something like that. It's well worth it. It might even be $20 a month. I don't know. I know it's like 20-some gigs, though, I get backed up. And that's not only just for the Apple one, at least, which is really nice, by the way. It also backs up not only... Oh, I just got to open this up before Okay, it didn't shut. My screensaver came up on what I'm recording on. But the Apple service I really like backs up everything I have that's Apple. It's my Apple TV. It is also my main computer, and it is my iPad, and any other device I have. Everything is backed up. Like, you can use. You don't have to pay different services for your different items. They're all backed up. So that's really nice. And that I actually really like. So I've learned that, you definitely, there's certain things you have to buy. Like, it wasn't a big deal years ago, but now it is. And one thing is, you want to buy with products of anything anymore, any electronics, anything. You definitely want to buy extended warranties. I mean, for instance, I actually even bought, which I thought was a total waste of money. It cost me, I think, an extra $4,000. I bought an extended warranty to up to 100,000 miles on my Volkswagen Tiguan. Now you're saying, why would you spend $4,000 on? It was something like that. It was an extra $4,000, I thought. And you know what? That already came in handy, because I just and there was a sensor that gave out in my Tiguan. It had to be replaced, and I have a deductible I have to pay, which is $50. Anytime I have to go in for service, which right off the bat, your service is going to be about $150, $100 just for the mechanics to look at your car. That's just your maintenance fee. Well, I pay a flat rate of $50 no matter what it is, up to 100,000 miles. So the sensor went bad. The guy told me, I said, how much would that have cost if I didn't have to pay that deductible? He said, well, that part alone, not even just for the mechanics to put it in or do the maintenance, he said, you would have been looking at, for that sensor that went bad in my car, about over $300. So there you go. I mean, it doesn't sound like, that doesn't weigh out to $4,000. No, but, things are going to come up that if I have to go in and I got this Volkswagen extended warranty, it pays off itself after a period of time. I've had that same situation with my Apple stuff. I buy extended warranties. I remember one time I got a laptop. It's out of warranty now, even with the extended warranty. An Apple laptop where the GPU chip went on the card, the graphics chip. And they said, well, we can't replace the chip because it's all soldered onto the motherboard in the laptop. That repair was like $700, which was almost 3/4 of what I initially paid for this laptop, because I got it actually pre-owned for $1,000 one time. I've had it for a couple years now. So the bottom line is, yeah, and I've actually extended the warranty until 2019, I think, on my PC laptop, just because I know it's made so cheaply, this Star Wars laptop I have, that eventually there's going to be something wrong with it, and it's going to cost me more money to fix it than what I paid for it. So that I didn't pay that much for. I probably paid like $150 for it, but it sounds like a lot, but trust me, your repairs start at $100. So, especially on computer stuff. I've had other things I bought extended warranties on. I always recommend those, and I also recommend those cloud units. I'm sorry, I keep on moving away from my mic. So anyway, I apologize too, because I'm watching right now in the background. There's Laverne and Shirley on right now on Me TV. I'm watching. And then it's Hogan's Heroes. I was actually going to buy that Hogan's Hero, folks, because I thought that was a really good show. They just actually re-released it for like the 100th time, the whole series, for I think it's coming out this March for $80, the Hogan's Heroes TV series. That was actually a really good show. Different story again. Going back, since I went so far into a different direction anyway, I was talking about the PlayStation. Yeah, I downloaded this game called Batman Arkham, which you can get the skins. They're free. The upgrade to look like the same costume that Ben Affleck is wearing in new Batman vs. Superman. That upgrade is free. Arkham Asylum, or not, it wasn't Arkham Asylum. There was one of the video games called Arkham Asylum. This was the newest one, which is really freaky. I can't imagine kids playing with this game, the one I got, but I got it because I have this PS Network service for a year, or subscription. I basically got it for $23. It's normally like $50 game. It's 50 gigs too. Anyway, the graphics look really good, but it's like this game, it was hard even on easy level. I've already gotten stuck on it. That's number one. And number two, you basically, the first thing you got to do is incinerate, because Batman kills him the very beginning. You have to incinerate the dead corpse of the beginning of the game. You have to put him in an incinerator. Put the dead corpse of the Joker, which looks like the Joker from that Jack Nicholson played. So these characters they made look like the characters from the movies, which is really cool. You can change their skins. Some of you have to pay for, meaning their outfits, whatever they are, the character is for Batman mainly, and even his car. They have the different generation cars. Some of you have to pay for, some of them are free. They're giving away for free the Batman versus Superman costume, again, that Ben Affleck now wears, which looks really cool. I haven't figured out how to add it yet. But I played that game, and it played flawlessly. It loaded much quicker than I've probably remembered, and I thought my old hard drive was fast. This one's just as fast, and it's twice the size. And it's not running that hot because it's a slower speed hard drive. So that part was really cool. And I got the game pretty cheap, so that was cool too. So I was playing it. Anyway, another thing about that game, by the way, of Arkham, I forget exactly what they call it. It's the last game released. There's a couple different Arkham games released on Batman, The Dark Knight. But this one actually was like, oh my God, I can't imagine buying this for your kid. And if you do, you got to be crazy, because the character, because apparently, I guess it was from the last game, you killed off the Joker, which I didn't think you could do, but apparently the Batman killed the Joker. So now he's fighting after other villains, it was like Two-Face, it was the Penguin, which looks like Danny DeVito's version of the Penguin, and the Scarecrow, which was so scary, so disturbing, which makes me actually want to watch the Dark Knight movie, the original one that was, the Dark Knight, when those last 3 movies were put out, the last 3 movies, because Ben Affleck's going to add a new generation of Batman to the series now. So now that I can still say that, or until since I can still say this, but the last 3 ones, the first one started with the Scarecrow, which I didn't even know that was a character. The one in this video game is very, to say the least, is very disturbing. And I mean, you're seeing people getting their heads crushed or shot off and other stuff. And basically, since the Joker gets killed and he's pretty much incinerated, Scarecrow basically wants to be the new Kingpin in this video game. And it was very disturbing because he basically, like in the movie, because I don't know him from the comic books, blows this this dust that makes this cop in a diner hallucinate, and the cop freaks out and he kills everybody in the diner, which you are the cop. But when you start shooting, you think you're shooting at the Scarecrow because he puts that hallucinogenic, whatever you call it, that dust in your face. And he said, "Oh, it's a new type of formula I have that it's more potent than what I had before." And you end up like shooting what you think is the Scarecrow, like different people that are supposed to be the Scarecrow. Well, the people you're shooting as a cop, you're killing innocent bystander people. So, and it just goes darker from there. I mean, extremely dark in this game. And it's like, I can't believe you would want to buy this for a game. They don't have a rated R rated on this game because this is not exactly something you want to buy for a kid. I mean, this is definitely a mature audience type game. It's not. I would not buy that for a child. I'm sorry, because it's just it's ultra violent, and it's really hard too. Because I mean, I normally don't get disturbed by video games. The last time I did, though, was probably from those games years ago from id Software. One was called Quake, and the other one was called Doom. Well, Doom's been around forever, but Quake was a spin-off from the Doom games, and they were like different but the same premise with demons and stuff. Those games really disturbed me. But this game, I mean, I wanted to go with the superhero thing because I wanted something like, okay, it'll just be a little bit less bothersome to watch or play a video game that's about Batman. How bad can it be? And I was like, wow, this is kind of like disturbing. You're seeing people getting pulverized and shot and killed, and it looks really pretty close to being realistic. The way the video games are now, from what I used to play, or have played in a long time, I should say. So, but the bottom line was the game played flawlessly. The loading time was not any different that much at all. They say, oh, if you go for a 7200, they said the one article actually fessed up to it. They said, listen, you can buy a very expensive hard drive, even a solid state hard drive for your PlayStation. But he says sometimes it actually runs slower, and if it does run faster, you're talking about 3 seconds you're going to shave off. The only thing you're going to save time with, they said apparently, is if you are loading the game for the first time, like loading it onto the hard drive from the disk, you're going to save maybe a lot more time. But when you're actually getting down to what I wanted to know, the actual physical gameplay and everything else around once the game is installed, there really is no difference at all. There is hardly any difference. I mean, a sneeze would take longer. If you went on the chain of sneezing, I don't know. The bottom line is you're talking 3 seconds. No matter how you look at it, you're talking 3 seconds. So it is definitely not worth the money at all. And you're talking like hundreds of dollars just for a more expensive hard drive. It's not going to make any difference. Unless you get one that's bigger, they said you really don't need anything that performs faster because the console set up to work one way. And I was really scared because they had me paranoid about that. So I put that to rest. I actually did load this game now, by the way, and it was one I owned. I have a whole bunch of games. There's some that are actually in the shrink wrap still. So I end up, the game I was really concerned about, the games that I'll be playing the most, if it's not like a fighting game, would be Mortal Kombat X. So I finally reloaded that tonight. It had taken about 45 minutes to put on. And when I loaded, it was like, okay, is this game, am I going to be able to put on my Jason Voorhees expansion pack that I got with the game originally because I used the passcode for that, which I saved on a flash drive and everything else. and it was backed up onto my cloud account. Well, it came back down, loaded Jason Voorhees on. I played the game. It was like, wow, this game actually does play faster now on the 1 terabyte hard drive, even at the 5400 speed, than my 500 gig 5400 speed, which is actually the complete opposite of every review I read, where they said it actually is going to run a little slower. That games will run slower. Now, it depends on the game, but I'll tell you, the Mortal Kombat actually ran faster and flawlessly. So, give or take, I'm going by my personal experience, it worked very well. So I was happy to see that. And what else did I do? Oh, and yeah, I played the game a couple times. It was like, wow, this is fun, and it's fast. So, and I didn't have to rebuy anything. I bought like some thing that allows you to automatically do the final, there I go with do the finishing moves. And honestly, it didn't even work, the patch, because it didn't work on Jason Voorhees. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not that hard to figure out, because that was a character made later on in the game, was Jason Voorhees. And there's some secret code moves you can do, which I actually stumbled upon like serendipity almost. It was a happy accident. Not so happy, though, because those were really violent, where Jason basically rips the guy's spine apart, and then he breaks his fist through and pulls your spine out of your back. And it was like, that's like one of those special moves you can do with Jason Voorhees. And it was like, I actually had to turn away every time I did that, because it was really gross. So, but the bottom line is, the game plays really fast. And honestly, it plays faster than it did on the 500 gig, which I was really shocked. So I was happy about that. I was pleased to see that that was the case, and it wasn't the way I read and was misconceived to believe. And I was concerned because Doom is coming out very soon too. And the fact that Doom's coming out, it's like, okay, the last thing I want is playing this game and it's just running like dog shit, which it doesn't. It runs fast, the games that I play. And the consoles, it doesn't matter what hard drive you put in there. The hard drive's just there basically for what it hard drive does. It's just there for storage. The actual game playing is done on the rest of the unit, which is set up the same no matter what you put in there. So you could put, I would say, gerbils on a spin wheel, giving the information to the rest of the PlayStation, and it won't change the speed of how the game's going to play. So it really doesn't make any difference. You can go for any speed hard drive. As long as it's the right size, it's 5400, 7200, it's not going to make a freaking difference. I'm letting you know right now. So I was happy to see that. The game was actually really fun to play, like I said, so I had 2 games now loaded. The only thing was that I kind of realized right away, 1 terabyte is an awful big hard drive, but after putting it on, because you got 2 games now, one I had to load, you have to load your games right onto the hard drive anyway. For some reason, they no longer allow you to play them off the disk like they used to. So I put 2 games on. Each one, it was about 50 gigs. So that's 100 gigs already used out of my 1 terabyte. Well, you're saying that's not that much. Well, once you install the software you need, including the firmware and everything else, or the OS, I should say, not firmware, but your OS, onto your new hard drive for your PlayStation 4, that takes up at least 200 gigs, or about 100 and some gigs of your hard drive space on your 1 terabyte. So you're left with like a little over 800 gigs. Then I've used 100 gigs now on 2 video games. That's not even the saves. That's just the video games themselves. So there is already been washed away 300 gigs on a 1 terabyte. Well, what's that leave me with? That leaves me with 700 gigs on that hard drive now. So I probably, if I would have known that, I probably should have went for the 2 terabyte hard drive, which I heard when I talked to the one person who works at the GameStop the other day. This girl, she said, GameStop does that where they're taking their upgrade your hard drive to a 2 terabyte. So apparently they realize even a terabyte seems like a lot, but even a terabyte's not that big anymore. You could, if you're lucky, you'll probably be able to put on maybe, I'm going to guess, about 7 games with a terabyte hard drive, if you're lucky, because each one is 50 gigs. Okay, maybe it's 14 games then, because you got to divide. 7 games would be about 250 gigs, I guess. So, yeah, 14 would be about 500 gigs. Is that correct? Something like that, because you gotta incorporate 50 gigs a game. 2 games would be 100 gigs. You got at least 800 gigs you can use, so you got to divide the 800 by 20. So anyway, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's more like 20. But the bottom line is, not that you're going to be playing all those games, because usually when I'm done a game, I'm pretty much done with it. I want to take it off, even when I play it on the PC. So, and I do like the PlayStation joysticks better. Now, there's a lot of people who like the Xbox joysticks better, but I personally like the PlayStation ones. I've always had a comfortable feel using those. So that was kind of nice. I did like that the PlayStation, and I just wish I would have went with the 2 terabyte hard drive. But for now, this should be fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So that was pretty cool. I was playing those games. Like I said, they ran pretty fine. Oh, sorry, I just hit my mic holder. So I'm sorry about that, folks. But here was another thing, though, because another thing I like to do on my PlayStation is I use it as a media hub for HBO Go, some other things, the popcorn flicks, and I forget, some movie rentals, Amazon, because you won't get, that's the only thing is, I have Apple TV as well, but that's the thing. You can't use Amazon on the app for Amazon on your Apple TV because they're competitors for each other. So you're never going to see that, and I got a lot of stuff on Apple TV that I can't get. So, I mean, there's Amazon, which I can't use on Apple TV, but I can use it on my Xbox. I can play my movies on the Xbox, so that's nice too. And I've heard back and forth. They said that technically, the PlayStation 4 was not equipped to play 4K. I heard the only thing that they can't play 4K is their video games. But quite honestly, there's not that many games out there. I don't think there really is any games that don't play any higher resolution than 1080i or 1080p. One of the two. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference, honestly. So that being said, that whole misconception that, you can't play, 4K on a PlayStation. You can on the Xbox. They said they did have that in there for the Xbox. But you can't do it on the PlayStation is false from what I read. I heard you can play certain stuff in 4K on your Xbox. So that misconception was shot out the window too. Just like I was led to believe about the hard drive myth, which I've kind of proven wrong now. So there was that. But actually just tonight, this was kind of interesting, which I saw it from with my very own eyes now, is I was watching, I was like looking for some shows to watch. Now I've done my series of movies from The Blind Dead, and I noticed on Netflix they have, which I bookmarked, but I've never watched them. I have to recommend this now. It's the Hitchcock show, TV show. There was the one thing called the Hitchcock Hour, which was a 1 hour show. And then Alfred Hitchcock had another show that was a half an hour long. This called Hitchcock Presents. I don't know which one came first. And I'm not going to say it, the chicken or the egg. I just did anyway. But it's true. I'm not sure which one came first. Was it Hitchcock Presents or Hitchcock Hour? So anyway, I'm watching Hitchcock Presents. Those are really intense and really good, the half-hour shows. And they're on Netflix if you have it. So I'm watching it. It was like, now I can see, because I know M. Night Shyamalan apparently was a big fan of Hitchcock. I've been told that over and over again. I thought it was other people that he was influenced by. But after watching just the first 3 episodes of Hitchcock Presents, I can see, okay, now I can see where M. Night Shyamalan was heavily influenced in all his films with Hitchcock. Because every episode, or the 3 I've watched so far, have those very, very twisted endings that you don't see coming. They kind of blindside you. So anyway, I'm going to cut this short because Hogan's Heroes is on now, and I'm going to watch that. So anyway, I'm like watching the third episode, I think it was, in Hitchcock Presents, and I didn't know this because I knew he had a daughter, Alfred Hitchcock, and he even made a joke. But in the third episode, the main character he put in the whole entire episode of Hitchcock Presents was Alfred Hitchcock's daughter, Pat Hitchcock. And he says, at the very end, he says, well, that very lovely lady did an excellent job acting too, didn't she? Something on that line. It was like, yeah, he's thrown. And I looked it up. It was like, because I was laughing inside watching his episode, simply because of the fact that I remember that Hitchcock also had placed his daughter in that film of Psycho. So you're probably wondering, okay, where was his daughter in that? Well, if you remember, if you've ever seen the original Psycho, not the remix, the original one, there's a part at the place where Janet Leigh works, and she's got there's this girl that works where Janet Leigh works, and she's kind of like a nosy, busybody girl with glasses. That is Pat Hitchcock, or Patricia Hitchcock, Alfred Hitchcock's daughter. So she actually looked really good. She actually looked pretty hot in the one episode I watched tonight, though. Not the movie where she played the main character in one of his TV series shows. And I looked her up. She's 87 years old now, and probably not as attractive as she was back in 1954, was it, or something? I think when she was in one of her dad's episodes. She probably was in other ones, too. But she made a career basically because her father, she was the only daughter of Alfred Hitchcock, and he did put her in cameos in a lot of his film work and TV show, obviously. Because I looked it up, and she does have a long list where he put her in stuff. And I guess that old saying of daddy's little girl was definitely placed in there because he definitely boasted about her, and he definitely made sure to give her some type of career, which later on in life, she obviously, I thought they said she was a director or producer as well. And she went to school out in Los Angeles, where he was. He wasn't from Los Angeles originally. He was from England because he has that accent, I believe. I think he is British, but he pretty much made his living out of California. So he did incorporate, and he always did put his daughter in quite a few things, which I'd never known that. And I was laughing because I know what she looked like from Psycho when I read that. So when I saw her in this Hitchcock Presents, I just thought it was pretty funny. And he definitely did put the dig. And it was funny because he obviously knew he had put his daughter on a pedestal. But in the credits in the beginning and the end of the storyline of that particular episode, he made sure to put her name above and beyond and in larger letters in the credits, away from everybody else. Like, hers stood out the most. And it was like, well, yeah, you go figure, because obviously he put his daughter on a pedestal, and he placed her in some of his film work and obviously his TV shows. So I thought that was pretty cool in a lot of ways. My mother, actually, I told her that, and she said to me, folks, she said, well, that's a shame I didn't have that break where I could have a relative in show business that would actually give me the same breaks that she had gotten. Again, she's 87 now, and it kind of just, you kind of almost got to laugh, but the only reason she actually got a career in show business was because of her father. And that's kind of obvious. She is a very good actress, don't get me wrong, but she got like some pretty simple parts, and he always kind of made sure she stood out of the crowd, so to speak. Like, she was the center focus on that particular episode when he started doing his TV show, or at least one of those Hitchcock shows, because again, there was two different ones. Anyway, folks, I think I've said enough. Have a good evening. I'm going to probably put this up before midnight, I hope, and I hope you enjoyed what I talked about. I did not read any goofy stories, minus that one, because I didn't want to mess up everything. So everyone, have a good weekend if I'm not back, and I hope you enjoy my show, and I will be signing off for now. This is Walter from iWalter. Thanks again.